And now it's time for a run that I have been dreading. The Chansey into Blissey run is going to be difficult. We have excellent HP and very high special defense. However, everything else really is lacking. So we're going to have to take a Chansey on this Pokemon and maybe we'll end up with a Blisseyful result. Before I started recording for this run, I really had no idea how it would go. Our base attack for this run is just 5 until we evolve into Blissey, and for a little bit of context, Shuckle had a base attack of 10, so Shuckle is double the Chansey run, and we all know how Shuckle ended up being at the bottom of the leaderboard. On top of that, the Chansey line evolves via Friendship, and as we saw in the Raichu run where we evolved Pichu into Pikachu at the beginning, that can really be a slog as well, but we're going to hold our heads up high and hope for the best. So let's take a look at the stats of our Chansey. We are level 5 and we've got a whopping 40 HP. Our moves are Pound and Growl and we're holding a berry, and our other stats are 6 in attack, 5 in defense, 9 in special attack that we can't use, 16 in special defense, and 10 in speed. And with that, we can get the run underway. We get the potion from Professor Elm's aid, and our first encounter this time is a level 2 male Pidgey. Our only attacking move at the moment is Pound, and that is base 60 power when you incorporate Stab, and it ends up being a 3-shot to knock the Pidgey out. Now, one of our big benefits of being a Chansey is we're in the fast experience group. That means we're going to be rocketing through the levels. Quite fast in the early game, but then we'll really pick up pace throughout the mid and later stages of this run, and that's what we're going to be relying on in order to evolve a lot quicker than we did when we ran Pichu into Pikachu. So we'll see how it goes together. We've got an awful lot of time left in this run, and we've got an awful lot of Pokemon to knock out. And the first Pokemon we're going to knock out here is a level 4 Caterpie. We're going to grow to level 9 to at least get Tail Whip, because that will lower the physical defense of any opponents. And that's going to be the key to getting through some of the more tricky battles in the early part of the run. This battle, however, won't be very tricky at all because Chikorita's like us. It's bulky, but it can't really hit us very hard. And because we've got a 4-level advantage over Chikorita, we really can just keep pounding and pounding and pounding. And even if a Growl had lowered our attack even more, we still would have done roughly the same damage. But we get through the first rival battle, we name the rival Triple Question Mark, and we can make our merry way towards Violet City. Now, on the way to Violet City, I'm going to do this for the very first time in a long time. I'm going to ask, if you aren't subscribed and you haven't liked the video and you're enjoying what you've seen so far, please do consider giving a like and subscribing to the channel. We're around about 6,500 subscribers right now, which is absolutely amazing, and I really want to keep the momentum going throughout this year. I'm reinvigorated, I'm re-energized, I am looking forward to bringing you an awful lot of very fun and some very difficult runs as well. And that brings me on very nicely to all of you lovely people. You've all got far better ideas than I have for things we can do here on the channel, and I really want to run some more backported Pokemon, but I want to try and make them evolutions of Pokemon available currently in Gen 2. So out of all of those Pokemon available, who would you like to see? Let me know down in the comments below and I'll see if I can get it done. In the meantime, we're taking on Falkner. He's our first gym leader together, a flying type specialist who led with Pidgey. Pidgey got knocked out in just a couple of hits, so we're on to the Pidgeotto. Thank goodness Falkner doesn't have a healing item. It takes about 5 hits to knock out the Pidgeotto, but we finally get it done, and we are through Falkner and, of course, the Sprout Tower in a time of 11 minutes and 12 seconds. So overall, that's a perfectly respectable time. Considering we did Sprout Tower as well, which adds on a couple of minutes to any run at this point in the game, we're only a couple of minutes behind some of our quicker normal types. And as we're heading towards Azalea Town, I decided to pick up the Miracle Seed just in case we needed Solar Beam at any point. Turns out we probably won't need it, but it was nice to have, and we also got the Paralysed Cure Berry, and we're now in the Ilex Forest to catch our HM friends. First up today is Psyduck, and Psyduck will be helping us out with Surf, Strength, Whirlpool and Waterfall, and what a relief it is to have Psyduck back on the team. And the second one is going to be Paris. Paris will be helping us out with Dig, with Flash, with Sweet Scent and with Cut, and with both of those safely tucked away in the party, we can now start doing our prep work for the second gym battle and the second rival battle. We're going to get rid of Growl because that is absolutely useless for us, and we're going to replace it with Mud Slap. That's not going to be relevant here against Bugsy, but it will be relevant in the battle after this. First though, we'll take on Bugsy. He is of course the bug type specialist who leads with Metapod. He's got 3 Pokemon and all 3 of them are going to be a bit of a challenge. We got through the Metapod eventually and now we're onto the Kakuna. We get very lucky and we don't end up being poisoned by Kakuna and we knock it out in just a few hits. And now it's about Chansey versus Scyther. And goodness me, this is going to be difficult. We've got the HP but we don't have the physical defense. And that means that Fury Cutter builds and builds and builds and we eventually get knocked out. And I was considering doing a little bit of a grind, but Ilex Forest had been locked off because we defeated the Slowpoke Well Rockets, so that meant we had to persist with this Bugsy battle. It was going to be far quicker for us to just get that little bit of luck we needed. And then it only took 2 resets to get that luck. Fury Cutter misses as we start tail whipping the Scyther. We have to do everything we can to reduce that Scyther's defense. Fury Cutter missed once more, we grow to level 22 and we are through Bugsy in a time of 21 minutes and 42 seconds. And that is a perfectly cromulent time for little old Chansey. I am very proud of her so far and she's doing far better than I ever expected her to do. Let's see if we can keep this momentum going now as we get into the second rival battle. He leads with Ghastly and Ghastly can only really send us to sleep and use Spite. It misses Hypnosis both times, we're on to the Zubat. Our only attacking move for the Zubat is going to be Pound and it's looking like a 3-shot. We get very lucky and Supersonic misses a couple of times in a row. We eventually knock it out and here comes Bayleaf. And because we're holding a PlayStation Network Cure Berry, Bayleaf really isn't an issue at all. It doesn't matter what it does with that Razor Leaf, it cannot break through our massive special defense. Here's where Chansey comes into her own. She has great special defense, so even if it does take a few hits to knock out a Pokemon, if it's a special attacker we will more than survive. And now that we're through the rival battle, we'll do our usual Ilex Forest when we learn Headbutt. We'll grab cuts from the Charcoal Maker first and foremost, and then we'll have a little chance with the green haired man staring at the tree. He's going to give us Headbutt, and that's going to be a base 30 increase on our normal attacking move. I always teach Headbutt at the same time as the Repel wears off to save a little bit of menuing, and it's going to be goodbye to Pound and hello to Headbutt in its place. Fresh Repel on so we don't get any wild encounters, and we can make our way onto Route 34. On Route 34 we encounter Picnicagina with her Hoppip and a Bulbasaur. We grow to level 23 and we get the option to learn Minimalize. I decided to get rid of Tail Whip in favour of Minimalize because I think having that evasion might come in handy for the big cow that's coming up. But before we can even think about that gym leader and her pet Miltank, we have another HM friend to pick up. This one is Abra, who's going to be helping us out with Teleport. Now that we're in Goldenrod City, it's time to get the bike so we can move in double quick time, and we'll also grab Kenya from the guard at the gate while we're here. Kenya's our 4th and final member of the HM friends, and they are going to be helping us out with Fly. Let's now get the quick claw from the teacher in National Park, because we are absolutely going to need it. We don't have the best speed in the world. We'll grab Dig for Paris to learn a little bit later on. We'll have a little chance with Floria staring at the tree, and we'll make our way back into Goldenrod City. Now this is going to be our 3rd gym together. This is Whitney, the normal type specialist who leads with Clefairy. Clefairy is giving us the middle fingers and burns us with a flame wheel, so we're going to start all over again. There's absolutely no sense in trying to carry on when we're burnt. Our physical attack is bad enough as it is, we don't need anything else hindering it. We do knock out the Clefairy on attempt number 2 though, and it's all about us versus the Miltank. She cannot attract us this time, which is very, very fortuitous, and she locks herself into Rollout. And that first rollout miss was key to getting through this on our very first try. We grow to level 29 and decline the option to learn Sing, and that means we have earned the Plain Badge in a time of 31 minutes and 57 seconds. We'll get the Squirts bottle from the eavesdropping so-and-so, and now it's time to chase a tree back into the woods. We're going to get Rock Smash just in case we need it. We might not, but it's always good to have, and we'll make our way into Ecruteak City. The first thing we're going to do in Ecruteak City is take on the Kimono Girls. Now all of these evolutions were much of a muchness this time, so I'm just going to show you the Jolteon battle. We flinch Jolteon on our first headbutt, we knock it out on our second one, and our reward is Surf. Now we cannot learn Surf, which did confuse me a little bit because I quite often expect these large pink Pokemon to learn Surf, but in this case it's just going to have to go to Psyduck, and we are going to have to wait even longer to get a special attack on our learn set. We'll make our way to the Lake of Rage and pick up the hidden rare candy, and we'll also get Hidden Power while we were here. And you know that waiting I was talking about for a special attack? It's round about now. We're teaching Hidden Power, and this time today it is Hidden Power Fire. That is purely for the Jasmine fight because I think we can get through anything else with relative ease. So it's goodbye to Minimalize that I didn't really want on the learn set anyway, and hello to our first special attack. And this is now absolutely one of those runs where we need to go to Olivine before we even think of Rival 3. In Olivine City we get the Strength HM from the man at the cafe, and we're going to replace Soft Boiled with Strength. Soft Boiled is a really good move for recovering HP, however when we have such a huge HP bar it slows us down more than taking a very quick reset. We'll ascend to the top of the lighthouse and we're going to chat with Jasmine. She's going to tell us that Amphi's a little bit sick, although I really don't believe her. We'll escape out of the lighthouse grabbing the rare candy en route, and now it is eventually time for the third rival battle. It is the third of 5 rival battles, and this time he's going to lead with Haunter. I tried off with a Mud Slap first turn because I thought it might do a little bit of damage, but it does barely anything at all. We finish it off with Hidden Power, but we're on a clock because we have been cursed. Hidden Power Fire makes mincemeat of the Magnemite, and we are on to Zubat. I swapped to Strength for the Zubat, and a lucky critical hit knocks it out in one shot, and now it is time for Chansey versus Bayleaf. Hidden Power Fire takes off more than half of its health, he growls at us, and that does nothing at all for us. And we get the option to learn Egg Bomb, which we're going to politely decline because it's only a 3 in 4 chance of hitting, and we will fall through the floor and say goodbye to the rival for the 3rd time. Let's release the beasts and start preparing for our 4th gym battle together. This one is going to be Morty's Ghost and Poison Dual Type Spectacular. He's the gym leader with the longest intro of all of them, and he's going to be leading with Ghastly. Now this is quite an interesting setup because there's barely anything that his Pokemon can hit us with. However, we are still going to be on a clock because of Curse, and we get very lucky in this battle to grow a level. We started this battle on a multiple of 4 HP, and that meant we only had 4 turns to knock out all of his Pokemon. As it turned out though, we didn't need to worry at all about Curse because we survive on 64 HP, and we obtain the Fog Badge in a time of 44 minutes and 18 seconds, and that's half of the Jotonian gym badges gone already. And now we're going to take a quick detour back to Goldenrod City to pick up the return TM. At first glance that might seem counterintuitive, however when you teach a TM in Generation 2 you increase your friendship ever so slightly, and I really wanted to evolve before Chuck. So if that didn't happen then the numbers weren't quite there. We could have tried pivoting to return to see if that got us over the friendship threshold instead. And as we can see going up against this Hitmonlee, we're going to need all the help we can get to get through Chuck. Hitmonlee is just absolutely decimating us. We give it another go a couple of resets later, and this time we get a little bit of luck. Hitmonlee flinches on turn 1, we get a bad roll on turn 2 though, and we're only on 117 HP. We do get through the rest of the gym trainer zone, and at the very end of the gym gauntlet we evolve into Blissey. Look at that, we've doubled our attack stats, aren't we the privileged ones? And you know what, looking at Chuck, I think we need all the help we can get. We now have a whopping 259 in battle HP, which is absolutely fantastic, but that's no good if you get critical hit by Primeape. We are now rolling the dice against this Poliwrath. Dynamic Punch hits and we get knocked out. We are playing for a flinch here. This is our only way of getting through at level 39. I don't particularly want to have to grind anymore. Cianwood City is an absolutely terrible place to grind. We're surrounded by ocean and the only trainers around are some very low-leveled swimmers. We get the luck a few attempts later though, and we get the option to learn Light Screen at level 40, so it's goodbye to Mudslap and hello to the Storm Badge in a time of 51 minutes and 17 seconds. I think that sub 1 hour Claire I always yabber on about isn't possible in this run, but we are still on very good time compared to what I thought Blissey would be doing. We'll grab Fly from Chuck's wife and we'll use it to instantly get to the Lake of Rage, and we'll take on the red Gyarados. The normal issues we can face against Gyarados shouldn't be a problem here. We have a lot of HP to deal with if he does use Dragon Rage, but in the end he just used 3 Leers. We got through that without any damage whatsoever, and it's time to chat with Lance. However, he can wait because we've got bits and bobs that we want to pick up. First thing we'll do is grab the rare candy in Violet City, that one's south of the Sprout Tower. Next it's a trip off to Azalea Town where we're going to go into the Slowpoke Well, we'll grab the King's Rock, and we're also going to grab the Rain Dance TM. We're not going to be teaching Rain Dance, but this is one of those runs where we need all the money we can get. We're going to be trying to teach a plethora of tutor moves later on, but now that we've kept Lance waiting for as long as we possibly can, we can move on out of the Mahogany Underground, Whirlpool HM in hand, and go into Price's gym. Price is one of 2 special attacking gym leaders in the Johto region, so this should be a breeze. He is of course an Ice type specialist who leads with Seal. We're going to start off with a headbutt against the Seal, and he uses Icy Wind. It barely tickles us at all, and we're on to the Dugong. We headbutt the Dugong and critical hit first time, he headbutts back, and we finish it off with a critical hit Strength. That just leaves Piloswine left to go. We've got Hidden Power Fire for the Piloswine. It isn't quite a one-shot on turn 1. We get a better damage roll on turn number 2, and we're already through price. So that's the Glacier badge obtained in a time of 58 minutes and 38 seconds. And I reckon, you know, that was Blissey's best gym battle so far. Let's now move on to Olivine City, where we reascended the Lighthouse to give the secret potion to Jasmine, and will now engage her in battle. She's a Steel-type specialist who leads with a pair of Magnemite, and we have Hidden Power on our learn set just for this occasion. 2 Hidden Power Fires knocks out the pair of Magnemites, so we are on to the Steelix. Steelix has Poultry special defense, so it's a simple one-shot, and we are through Jasmine in a time of 1 hour and 7 seconds. Not quite under the hour mark for Jasmine there, but still a very respectable performance. Let's now make our way into the Ice Path, where we're going to grab the Waterfall HM and teach it to Psyduck along with Whirlpool. And we're also going to get to the Nevermelt Ice. Now you may have noticed there's a giant gaping hole in our learn set there. We cannot learn Ice Punch. However, we do have Icy Wind as a backup, and we might need that for the Dragons. Now that we're in Blackthorn City, we're going to say goodbye to Strength. It's served its purpose very, very well, and we're going to replace it with Return. Return at the moment is base 95 power, which in and of itself is an increase of 15 on Strength's base power, and that's only going to keep going up to 102. And now that's all sortificated, we can make our way back to Goldenrod City, where the 4th rival battle is waiting for us. This time he's going to lead with Golbat. Golbat can be a little bit of a pain because of its confusing ways, so we can deal with that by just getting a very lucky critical hit. Up next is Magnemite, and as we saw with Jasmine, they go down straight away with Hidden Power Fire. We're going to use a Hidden Power Fire against the Haunter, and it looks at us funny instead of using Curse, and that means we're not on a timer for the rest of the battle. Sneasel goes down in a single hit, and here comes Meganium. Meganium's another one-shot with Hidden Power Fire, and goodness me, isn't the rival weak to fire, especially when he has that Meganium on his team? It's up there with Brock as having one of the biggest weaknesses to a single type I've seen on a team in Generation 2. We finish off the Radio Tower section, we get the pink bow off Marie, and we also get the radio card from the lady at reception, and we can make our way back to Blackthorn City. In Blackthorn City, our final Jotonian gym leader awaits. This is Claire. She is of course a Dragon-type specialist who leads with Dragonair. For the occasion, we have taught Icy Wind because it is just about a one-shot on all 3 of these Dragonair, and we get very lucky with the accuracy rolls. They hit all 3 times that we needed them to, and we're on to Kingdra. We swap to Return for Kingdra, hoping for a 2-shot, but it's looking like a 3-shot, and we get paralysed. She uses a Hyper Potion, so we've got to deal all that damage again, but then she gets locked into Hyper Beam. That means it's 2 further shots to knock it out, and we obtain our final badge from Johto, the Rising Badge, in a time of exactly 1 hour and 16 minutes. And with that, we can start making our way towards the Pokémon League. The first thing we'll do is grab the rare candy en route to Victory Road. We'll have a little surf and a sail and a cycle up towards Victory Road. We'll prove that we've got all 8 badges from Johto, and then we'll engage the battle in his 5th and final rival together. This is of course the final rival battle, and he's going to lead this time with Sneasel. One of the things I find interesting about this rival battle is he never really has consistency with who he leads with. It's almost as if he's learning on the fly, a little bit like us in these challenge runs. His first 2 Pokemon are no issue whatsoever, and his third's Magneton. Need I say more? Let's move on to Haunter. We didn't quite knock out the Haunter as quickly as we wanted to in the last battle, so we make it up in this battle. The penultimate Pokemon is Kadabra with its paper-thin defences, and then it's just a Meganium left to go. Meganium puts up no resistance either as we critical hit it with Hidden Power Fire to say goodbye to the rival for the 5th time in 1 hour 21 minutes and 32 seconds. And now we're at the Pokemon League, so we'll heal up whether we need it or not, and we'll say thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck and to Paris. You've all been an absolutely wonderful help in the Johto region, but this is Blissey's time to shine. She is doing very, very well so far, and long may it continue. Let's take a look at our stats going into the league and see exactly what we're up against. We're level 58 with 386 HP. We're holding the Scamulet coin with Hidden Power Fire, Return, Light Screen and Icy Wind. We've got just 58 in attack, 55 in defense, 134 in special attack, 203 in special defense and 107 in speed. Will those stats be enough to see us through the league? Let's find out as we engage Will in battle. He's our first league member, a Psychic-type specialist who leads with Xatu. Icy Wind is just about strong enough to one-shot the Xatu, and we're onto his Jinx. Jinx doesn't have much in the way of the defense, so we knock it out with a Return, and here comes Executor. We're going to go for Hidden Power Fire against the Executor, and it's another one-shot. Let's keep this up, Blissey, as we move on to Slowbro. Now, this could have been a war of attrition, but he used Amnesia instead of Curse. Turn 2 is a body slam that doesn't paralyse us and we knock it out in 3 hits. The final Pokemon is Xatu that we again knock out with a single Icy Wind, and we're through well on our first attempt in a time of 1 hour 23 minutes and 2 seconds. Let's move on to Koga, the poison type specialist who leads with Ariados. It's a one shot on Ariados, so we are on to Venomoth. Venomoth's run is coming up very soon, but for now we're going to say goodbye to that one, and here comes Fortress. Fortress practically melts with a hidden power fire, so there's just 2 Pokemon left to go. It's Muck and it's Crobats, the undoing of Politoed in the last run. We get much better luck with Muck this time though, and we're not poisoned and we're on 400 HP for the Crobat. These are numbers we have not seen before in challenge runs. 400 HP is ludicrous. Icy Wind finishes off Koga in 123.46, and here comes Bruno. Bruno is going to be our big wall for this league. He has a bunch of fighting type Pokemon and we don't really have anything too great against them. Hitmontop's not bad, it only knocks off 30 HP, but here comes Hitmonlee. We don't quite knock it out in one shot, we get confused via Swagger, and then he starts kicking us. We snap out of confusion to knock out the Hitmonlee, and here comes Hitmonchan. But even with that attack buff, we are not going to be strong enough to knock out Machamp. We need Cross Chop to miss, and it doesn't. Bruno's done it again. He's a fighting type specialist and he has thwarted the dreams of another normal type Pokemon. We're just going to have to keep persevering. We do a few more resets and we knock out the Hitmontop, and here comes Hitmonlee. I'm holding the King's Rock this time and praying for a flinch. It doesn't happen against the Hitmonlee. Let's see how we do against the Hitmonchan. We try to one-shot it, but it just isn't happening. We're down to 131 HP as the Machamp comes out. As we expect, Cross Chop hits, and we have to change strategy. A few resets later, I come up with the idea, Headbutt. We have that. Let's get rid of Hidden Power Fire, it's useless for the rest of the run, and let's go with the Pink Bow instead. We get a 10% boost to our normal type moves, and we now have a 30% chance to flinch the opposition. I was very fortunate to think of picking up a Headbutt TM earlier on when I was in Goldenrod City, and goodness me, that Pink Bow makes all the difference. That combined with a potential flinch against Machamp is what we needed to get through this battle. I really wish I'd have thought of this strategy a little bit sooner, but still we've only wasted about 5 or 6 minutes at Bruno, and it works. We flinch the Machamp, we knock it out, and that just leaves Onix left to go. We've got Icy Wind for the Onix, we knock it out in one shot, and we are through Bruno in a time of 1 hour 32 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's see what Karen, our final league member, has in store for us. She's a Dark type specialist who leads with Scumbrion. Our best option here is to go for return and hope for the best. We get confused on attempt number 1, so we give it a reset. There's absolutely no point in having confusion and sand attack working against us, and on a couple of attempts later we managed to just get the confusion instead. Confusion isn't so bad when you've got high HP and low physical attack, it just slows us down just a little bit. We eventually get through the Umbreon, hitting ourselves practically every turn of confusion. We're on to Vileplume. Vileplume gets itself locked into Petal Dance, so there's no paralysis for us on the rest of this run, and here comes Gengar. Icy Wind ends up being a 2-shot on the Gengar, and it curses us, so we are on a clock for the final 2 Pokemon. There shouldn't be too much of an issue though, because a single Icy Wind knocks out Murkrow, and we have 267 HP for the Houndoom. Return is a 2-shot against the Houndoom, and we don't get burnt by the Flamethrower, so that means it's as simple as hitting it again, knocking it out, and getting through Karen in a time of 1 hour 33 minutes and 21 seconds. And now there's only one obstacle between us and the Hall of Fame. It's time for Lance, the Liar with the Flyers, who leads with Gyarados. We headbutt the Gyarados and it flinches on turn 1, it flinches on turn 2, and then it uses Rain Dance on turn 3. That was the perfect opening for the Gyarados. Our next obstacle is the pair of level 47 Dragonite, and just by a little whisker we're able to one-shot both of them. That was very close to being arranged, so I was very happy about that. We're on to Aerodactyl now as the rain stops. Icy Wind does slow down Aerodactyl, so we can finish it off with a headbutt, and here comes Charizard. We've got return for Charizard to take it deep into the yellow. Wing attack doesn't tickle us at all, and that just leaves the level 50 Dragonite left to go. The mid-battle level up is all we need to guarantee that's a one-shot with Icy Wind as well. We have defeated Lance and we are through him in a time of 1 hour 34 minutes and 28 seconds. Our final league time is 1 hour 34.44, and that is such a good time for Blissey. I really thought we'd be a lot slower than this, but this is only half of the story. We have another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere. Kanto is next. And we are back, where it all began outside our home in Newbark Town, and Professor Elm has a phone call for us. He's going to gift us with an SS ticket, which we will use to get all the way over to Kanto, but before we get there, we've got a few bits and bobs we need to do. The first thing we'll do is retrieve the HM friends, so it's a warm welcome back to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and to Paris. We'll head on over to Mount Mortar to grab the first of 2 rare candies we've got remaining in the Johto region. We'll leave Mount Mortar, go into the Whirl Islands, and then we're going to go on a bit of a treasure hunt. It turned out we didn't have enough money to get both of the move tutor moves that I wanted, so we had to go on a little bit of a scavenger hunt. We just about scraped together enough items to sell, combined with the TMs we'd been picking up, so we are able to learn both tutor moves. The first one we're going to be learning is Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is going to be very good against Red because it's super effective against 2 of his Pokemon, so it's goodbye to Headbutt and hello to Thunderbolt. And the second one is going to be a straight swap of Ice moves. It's goodbye to Icy Wind, that base 55 power move. We're going to upgrade that base power by 40, upgrade its accuracy, and have Ice Beam instead. And for the first time in memory on this channel, the first thing we do in Kanto is not the last thing we do in Johto. We're still going to get the rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon fan club, but we got moves last. How very, very strange. I don't know about you, but peculiar things seem to be afoot here in Kanto. We'll have to see how the rest of this run goes, and we'll start off with Lieutenant Surge. He is our first Kantonian gym leader. He is of course an electric type specialist who leads with Raichu. But as we're going through this gauntlet of Kantonian gym leaders, as has become tradition here on the runs together, I'm going to take this opportunity to have a little bit of a chat with you all. We've been doing runs here together on the channel now for 18 months, and some of those very early runs are starting to get a little bit stale with their times. Before the Furret run, I didn't use a turbo button to mash through the text boxes, so that means that anything from Mr. Mime backwards on the leaderboard is at an inherent disadvantage compared to those more recent runs. So my plan is to redo all of the first 23 runs and get them new spots on the leaderboard. We've seen a couple already with Ursaring and Girafarig, but there are plenty more Pokemon that might be able to post an even better time than they have before. But that does pose a few questions, and I would really appreciate your help letting me know what you think is the best solution. Once again here on the channel, I'm going to go with a general consensus, because these runs aren't just about what I want, these runs are about what we all want as a lovely community together. So the first question is, do we remove those old runs from the leaderboard as they were done under different circumstances, or do we keep them there for posterity and just change the results shown as we've done the redos? I can see benefits to both sides of that, but I really don't know which is going to be the better option. And the second one is, should I do them as videos or should I do them as streams? Again, I can see the benefits of both. I know a lot of people don't have the time to sit through a stream. It is a very long time commitment, and you might still want to be able to see the results of the run. Let me know, do you want to see redo videos, maybe an extra video or a shorter video once a week or so? Or would you rather see them as streams and get the full unedited experience live as we try and struggle our way through with things like Macargo again? Please do let me know down in the comments below, it will be a great help. Because ultimately, all you lovely people out there are in charge of what happens on this channel. I might be the one doing the inputs and doing the voiceovers, but it's all of you lovely people out there that have made this happen. We're 18 months in now, and I am eternally grateful to still be able to be doing this 18 months down the line, and I just want to make the best leaderboard and the best set of Crystal Challenge results we can ever possibly see. And along those lines, if you do have any suggestions at all for the channel, please do let me know. I'm always looking to improve my content as best I can, and if it's something feasible that seems like it could be a good laugh or fun in general, I'll always be up for doing it. But now let's rejoin the action at 3 Drill. He is our honorary Kantonian gym leader, and he's got 3 lovely B-Drill. We're going to knock out all 3 of his B-Drill and obtain a sense of pride and accomplishment, and we get through 3 Drill in a time of 1:51.05. Our next gym leader though is Brock. He is our 3rd from last gym leader here in Kanto, and he leads with Graveler. Ice Beam makes light work of the Graveler, so he sends out Rhyhorn. It's much of a muchness for the Rhyhorn, and then we can swap to Thunderbolts for the Fossil. Omastar was not a star player in this occasion, and we're back to Ice Beam for the Onix. That was unexpected for Brock there, and the final Pokemon, of course, is Kabutops. Kabutops is another simple one-shot. We almost grow to level 70. We obtain the Boulder Badge, and it's in a time of 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 54 seconds. At our current pace, it's looking like we might just go over the 2-hour mark in this run. It's been a long time. I think it was Shuckle the last time we went over 2 hours, but regardless of the end result now, Blissey can hold her head up high. She has done so well. She had her struggling points with all the fighting type trainers, but they are gone now. We don't have a single fighting type Pokemon left to go, and that means we can focus on knocking out all of these easier Pokemon. We'll start off with Blaine's Macargo, which is a one-shot with Thunderbolts, and here comes the Bumhead fired up. Thunderbolts is another one-shot, and that just leaves Rapidash left to go. It's not quite a one-shot with Thunderbolts against the Rapidash, but he gets caught in a healing loop, and that means it's a foregone conclusion from here. A couple of Thunderbolts later, we knock him out, so we obtain the Volcano Badge in 153.06, and we are on to our final gym leader together. This is Blue, the mixed-type specialist of Viridian City, who leads with Pidgeot. It was 50-50 as to whether I used Thunderbolt or Ice Beam against the Pidgeot, both worked just as well, and Alakazam sets up a Reflect. Psychic's going to be barely tickling us and a critical hit knocks out the Alakazam, and we're going to be using special moves for the rest of this battle anyway. It's a one-shot against the Rhydon, and here comes Gyarados. Gyarados is 4 times weak to Thunderbolt, so that is a very easy KO, and his final 2 Pokemon are Exeggutor and Arcanine. Exeggutor is weak to Ice Beam, so we knock it out in a single hit, and that just leaves Arcanine left to go. I take a second to really think about my move choice and I go for Return first. That's not going to get him into healing range, and then we can finish him off with another couple of returns. This works out spectacularly well, and we get through Blue on our first try in 1 hour 54 minutes and 24 seconds. And with that, there's only one challenge left to go. It is of course the red fight at the top of Mount Silver, so we'll chat with Professor Oak to open Mount Silver, and now it's time to dig in, grit our teeth and get ready for the battle. Red is mostly a special attacker, but we have to worry about that Snorlax. The rest of the Pokemon should be good, but Snorlax will really prove to be a challenge. But there's only one thing to do, and that is to hope for the best. So this is Red, the final battle of the game, and he's going to lead with Pikachu. We use Return on the Pikachu as Thunder misses, and we knock it out with a lucky critical hit. Up next is Espeon. We don't have anything too great against the Espeon, so we go for the freeze and we get it turn 1. And now we can breathe a sigh of relief. Regardless of what happens at Snorlax, we're now going to be going in at full health, and that is huge. The Espeon's out of here, and now we're against the Snorlax. We use Ice Beam and we get yet another turn 1 freeze. There's nothing this Snorlax can do. It's just sitting there waiting to be hit. We knock it out on our first attempt in 5 shots, and we get to see what it's like against the Venusaur. We use Ice Beam again, and this time we don't get lucky. We don't get the freeze, but we knock it out in 2 hits. There are 2 Pokemon left to go. There's Charizard and there's Blastoise, the 2 Pokemon that are weak to Thunderbolt. It's a 2-shot on the Charizard with Thunderbolt, as he didn't take advantage of the sun, and that just leaves Blastoise left to go. He'll Rain Dance on turn 1, and that means it's all over. 2 hits later, we've knocked out the Blastoise, and we have defeated Red on our very first try. Goodness me, how well did Blissey do in that fight? We get a time of 1:56.58, which is just about slow enough to put it on page 3 in 51st position, but I think we should be really proud of that run. A 1:56.58 is spectacular. I was expecting 2 hours or above. Page 1 has not changed because of course we are on 51st place. Girafarig is still in top spot, Ursaring in second, Porygon 2 in third, and Primeape survives another week in the page 1 drop zone. No changes to page 2 either, with Nidoking heading it up at a 1:27.49, and down in 50th position is Kingler with a 1:56.50. But with that, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. If you enjoyed this run, then please do leave it a like. If you want to see more runs just like this, then please do subscribe. If you've got any feedback at all, leave it in the comments down below. And until next time, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.